Yeah.
You know it's a commercial.
But he's been doing that call-in banter with the radio hosts for like 30 years. I remember him doing
Yeah. But yeah, rather than just a radio commercial, so we should talk about it.
When I first started looking, exactly. Okay.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money, Brian Burke of Practice Capital, and our guest, Paul Kingsman, 1988 bronze medal winner. And when we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. With just 34 seconds left to go, Joe Montana threw the winning touchdown to which 49er in Super Bowl 23?
Come on, Brian, you know that.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big football fan. Don't know.
Mr. NASCAR. No. Anybody?
Jerry Rice?
No, that's
D. White Clark.
No. That was back.
Oh, and you thought you had it too, didn't you?
Oh.
John Taylor. You remember that one?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what
You're
you
just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't a Super Bowl. He threw to Dwight Clark. That was the catch.
All I need to work on my listening skills.
And Paul, before we're going to still have you in the studio, but if people wanted to call you to have a speaking engagement, how would they get a hold of you?
They can email me at paul@paulkingsman.com. paul@paulkingsman.com.
Okay. And stick around because we're getting into email time here. Mark, we received an email from an interesting listener here. It says, how do you protect your investor from a fraudulent borrower? That's a pretty darn good question.
Yeah, and it's one that we get frequently. So I'm president of Pacific Private Money. We are a private money lender, also known as a hard money lender here in the Bay Area. We're based in Marin. Been in business for about 5 years, and we're one of the more prolific private money lenders in the Bay Area. In fact, I'm pretty sure we do more loans per month than any other Bay Area private lender, and I think we do that high a volume because of our among other things, our investors really like our loans and our note investors, and because I think we do a stellar job of underwriting.
And you're not greedy.
Well, that helps too. Well, that gets the borrower volume coming your way when you're not charging a huge amount of points, and you're trying to get a fair interest rate for private money, that is, for your borrowers.
And you're paying a good interest rate to your lender.
So we get a lot of loan applications, and so what's great today is that we have a lot of technology at our disposal. So every borrower that comes to us, even though in the old days of hard money lending, it was called hard money because it was equity-based lending, meaning you were going after the asset, and really as long as the owner of the property could fog a mirror and sign a set of loan docs, you really didn't care.
Yeah, because you said, hey, I want the property.
That's called the loan-to-own strategy, right?
Now that still holds true because, again, we're not making high percentage loans. The highest percentage we generally go to is 65% of today's market value, but most of my investors, they're using their self-directed IRAs or their life savings, and they're looking at making a loan to a perfect stranger. Yes, they're going to get between 8 to 10% interest on that money, which is fabulous, but still it is their life savings or their IRA monies, and they want to know that they're going to get paid their monthly interest as promised, and that they're not going to have trouble and have to go foreclose, because generally most of my investors really don't want to own that real estate. They just want to make the return that they can by making a loan to a real estate investor who's going to make a profit on that property. So what we do is we always do a credit check, no matter what. And I have a few borrowers that complain about that. And I say, look, this is what we do. We don't make loans based on your FICO score, but I want to know what your credit profile looks like. I want to know what kind of...
Not 15 judgments against you.
Right. Collections.
Have a history of getting loans and not paying
them back. Or you're late on a lot of other things, and if you're going to be late on your credit card and your loan payment and stuff, you're probably going to be late on my loan, and I just want to know that in advance so I can make a value judgment and know who I might, I may not present it to certain types of investors who have a general expectation.
But then you also, from the standpoint of protection, you also get title insurance.
Well, we get, right, and so the next thing we do, so we do the credit check. I also do a background check. I've got access to the same type of facilities that private investigators can. It costs a lot of money and you have to qualify for it, but we have that at Pacific, so we do a background check based on their name, date of birth, social, and all that. So that tells us stuff that wouldn't appear in a credit report.
Like he's a convicted felon for financial fraud.
Well, no, that's exactly
These are the kinds of things you'd want to know.
We have discovered some very interesting things that have caused us to pass on certain loan applications.
We denied your loan, but the police are on their way.
and then the other protections that are part of making a loan are they're essentially the same protections that Bank of America has when they make a loan to you on your home. You get there's a recorded deed of trust. There's title insurance by a title insurance company that is insuring your first lien position on that property. There's hazard insurance with the lender's name on it. So a lot of our lenders do lend in their personal name or the name of their IRA. So there's a deed of trust in their name. There's the hazard insurance in their name. There's the title insurance. So there's an awful lot of protections. It's one in a lot of people believe trust deed investing, as they call it, is one of the best kept secrets in investing today. Because 8 to 10% is a fabulous yield to get for what many consider to be a very an investment with safety and security features that are much stronger than a lot of investment opportunities out there.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
If people want more information, they should go to my investor website at Pacific Private Investments. That's plural, pacificprivateinvestments.com, or go to the Best of Investing website and click on Pacific Private Money there.
Very good. And Brian, we got an email here from someone who asked, have you ever purchased a property and had a negative surprise? What did you do in that circumstance?
That's a good question.
You drive up and, whoa, there's no house.
Right. Yeah, that could happen, I suppose. Well, for the listeners that don't know what I do for a living when I'm not giving Mark and Edward a bad time on the radio show, I'm the managing director of Praxis Capital. We're a real estate private equity firm, and we purchase and rehabilitate and either resell or rent residential real estate in Northern California and a few other states as well. So yeah, after having bought about 400 or 500 houses, there's no way you can do that without having a few surprises along the way. And I have a
mother-in-law comes with the house.
Well, we've had a few. I've had people living in the attic. That was an interesting one. I always say that there's really no such thing as problems in business. They're all just classified as expenses. So you just really have to figure out how much.
It still costs money.
Everything is just how much is it going to cost to fix it.
That's true.
And it's no different in real estate investing. You get out to the house and you find that the termites ate the floor out. That's an expense, and you'll have to account for that. And maybe you didn't know that going into it. And I think that's one of the important reasons why investing, especially if you're buying houses at foreclosure auctions, where you don't get the opportunity to do a complete inspection of the house. You don't get an opportunity to do a pest report or a professional home inspection. So it's a business that isn't really for the faint of heart or for the inexperienced, and it's one of those do not try this at home kind of businesses. And after having done a few hundred of them, you get pretty good at identifying those surprises before they materialize and in addressing them when they materialize. And it's not an if, it's a when.
Well, and I went to a presentation you did years ago, Brian. I think it may have been the first time I heard you speak, and you were showing a bunch of before and after photos of properties that you had rehabbed that you had bought at the courthouse steps.
Yeah.
And the one that got the audience in stitches was before, there's a house. After, it was a lot of dirt.
A vacant lot.
You didn't have those pictures backwards, right?
That's right, yeah. And then I had an after where we had built a brand new duplex on the property, so eventually it looked pretty good. But
how much did you buy that property for?
Oh, I think we paid about $40,000 for it, and this was back in 2005 when the peak of the market, a lot was worth $100,000. So we knew we couldn't lose even if we had to tear the house down. And unfortunately, we got there and found out we did have to tear the house down. There wasn't anything salvageable, but at the end of the day, we built a great duplex on it, and it made a great profit on it as well.
So it was still profitable.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah,
I guess in 05,
we made quite a bit of money on that one.
I wonder if that would be profitable today.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't, because the problem today is there's no way you could actually construct a structure like that for less than you could sell it for, and that's the problem. And I think we'll get into that in the next segment of the show.
Yeah.
Is the disconnect between the cost of constructing real estate or real property now versus its value, and there's a big disconnect.
Yeah, they still haven't come back from that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just before we cut to our third and final trivia question, commercial break. We're going to have another special contest next week.
Awesome.
And next week we're going to have a special giveaway of 2 nights at the Vichy Springs Resort.
Vichy.
And the Vichy
Nice.
Springs, yeah, it's the
Ukiah.
That's right. It's the best of two worlds. A country inn and a hot springs resort with 26 rooms and cottages that include their world-famous naturally warm and carbonated mineral baths. Sounds
I wanna
good.
win that one.
Wouldn't that be great? I could use that right now. Hot soaking pool, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and 700-acre private
you heard
reserve.
that.
Yeah, for walking and exploring. Breakfast is included, as are all the resort activities. Vichy Springs is just 2 hours north of San Francisco and 1 hour north of Santa Rosa in the North Coast wine country. And here is our third and final trivia question. One of the most exciting catches occurred when Eli Manning threw the ball to this receiver who caught it against his helmet in Super Bowl 42. Who was the receiver? The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. One of the most exciting catches occurred when Eli Manning threw the ball to this receiver who caught it against his helmet. Everyone remembers that in Super Bowl 42. Even Brian remembers that. Okay, who was
No.
the receiver? Make sure to include your name, email address, and please speak slowly and spell out each letter for us, and we'll be right back. Okay.
Awesome.
Barney Oldfield.
Party
You're just making stuff up
He
now.
is. And
I
that's,
always
I,
wanna
knew,
say that.
I knew a lot of people are going to guess that.
I always want to say Plaxico Burress, but it was the other guy.
It was the other guy. That's right.
I always say Super Bowl. What sport is that? I'm not-
Yeah.
Is that curling where they have that
Curling's
little
right.
bowl that they try to get from one side to the other?
It's a stone that they roll.
Stone.
Oh, a stone, not a
Sweet.
bowl.
Yeah.
So that's the Super Stone.
Super stone, yeah.
Super stoned.
Well, today is 420 after all, right?
Oh my God, that's right. And that
I got this confused.
That
looking.
started in Santa Rafael too.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah,
Why
it
does that
was,
surprise me?
it's known to have started at Santa Rafael High, as a matter of fact.
Oh, is that-
And,
Wait,
it
what's
went
wait a
nationwide.
minute, 420? What is
The
it?
comment 420 is I'm going to go get stoned. Basically.
Yeah, that was the underground
That was the-
code
oh,
word
that's
Right,
for.
because
Oh my gosh, I forgot
420
about
was
that.
right after the last bell at Santa Rafael High, and people would go off into the under the bleachers and go get stoned.
You know, so when I went to
School went to
Terra Linda High
420.
back in
It
the
did.
70s, I mean, they actually had a smoking section.
Yeah, they did it at my high school as well.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's so weird to think about that in
Yeah.
today's environment.
I know, how crazy is that?
They frowned upon getting stoned, but
Just don't get wasted.
I
Yeah.
know, exactly.
just, are those funny cigarettes that you have there? Okay, let me see how much
Now you-
time.
now
Welcome
you-
back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, Brian Burke of Practice Capital, and our special guest, Paul Kingsman. And when we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question. One of the most exciting catches occurred in, obviously we're talking football here, occurred when Eli
Thanks for
Manning.
clarifying
yeah,
that.
yeah, I knew I had to do that for Brian. Catches occurred when Eli Manning, you know who he is, right?
No.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be tough. Okay. When Eli Manning threw the ball to this receiver who caught it against his helmet in Super Bowl 42, and you know what Super Bowl is, right?
I commented at the break, is that curling where they have that bowl that they go from one side of the court
No,
to
that's
the
a
other?
stone.
Oh, a
So
stone.
Super Stone into
See,
the Super
I knew
Bowl.
I knew I wasn't
Okay.
going to get this question.
Okay,
I'm out.
Who was the receiver?
You know, I know it's not Plaxico Burress.
It's not
but that's the
Plaxico
one I
Burress.
want to say.
Anyone?
No.
David Tyree.
Oh, that's right.
that's
I knew it. I
You
knew
knew it,
it.
yeah.
I just didn't want to come right out with it.
Okay. Mark, you said there's some exciting stuff you got.
Well, I always have exciting stuff,
Of
you know,
course.
and exciting real estate stuff. I mean, gosh, you know,
Ooh.
Brian and I are both real estate guys, so although I guess I can't really use that term because the article I brought is actually from an email newsletter I got today from the guys who call themselves the real estate guys.
I thought we were real estate guys.
Well, we kind of are, but we're not the real
They're
estate
real
guys
estate
in
guys,
quotes
right.
because they have a little TM by their name.
Ah.
But they have a radio show, and I actually like those guys. I've gone to a number of their events, and they're very pro real estate, and as are we. And anyway, but it was interesting, so I brought a copy of it. But essentially, what they're saying is now the time to buy single family homes? And of
Well, I
course,
think so.
I've been thinking it's time to buy for this entire downturn, because you can always make money in real estate, in my opinion, if you know how to buy. And
That's
you can
true.
Fix and flip it quickly, but I think these guys are more broadly. The question's more broad. Is it really now time to invest in single-family homes? Have we hit the bottom? And they talk about how the fact that the billionaires known as Mr. Buffett and Mr. Trump are both
I've heard of
bullish
that.
on real estate right
Yeah.
now, and so the article talks about basically the reasons why, and we've talked about a number of these things, and one we just talked about the last segment. Prices are low relative to replacement cost, which we know is
Right.
not sustainable.
Yeah, it's like 30% in some areas of replacement cost. In fact, we're buying houses now for just over the cost of the building permit.
Mhm.
So never mind even the cost of the wood and other materials that you need to build it, but just to go to the city hall and get the building permit.
Yep.
Which
no,
doesn't
that's-
add any value. At least
You're
it
right.
would
No, it
add
doesn't add any
So
value.
that's reason number one, because it's not economically sustainable that houses are going to trade below replacement
No.
costs. It just eventually it's going to bounce back up at least to replacement cost, and then
or have replacement costs go down, but that doesn't seem like it's
Not
happening.
I
like
don't think
Price of
so.
wood
When was the
and-
last time you saw stuff going, half price at Home Depot?
No, you've
for-
got
you
you've
just
got
don't see that
rising
very
commodity costs happening right now
Yeah.
with lumber,
And
steel,
labor.
concrete, copper,
Yeah.
et cetera. So that's not likely to happen. The second point they make is rents are high relative to purchase prices, which again we all know that rents have been skyrocketing, and anybody who's out there renting or looking at rentals or looking at the papers and seeing what market rentals are, it's amazing. And inventory of rentals is down.
Very tight. In fact, the single-family vacancy rate in Northern California is less than 2.5%.
Yeah.
So it's really tight. I talked to a lot of people who are out looking for rentals and can't find one. So rents are, even though like this newsletter is saying that the rents are high, but they're going even higher.
Yeah.
And this has happened at the same time that prices have fallen a lot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yep.
And then the
one of
third.
those has to change, right?
Prices
Well-
are probably going to go up, is what I think. I don't see any metrics for rents going down.
Well, no, and the third point they bring up, the foreclosure inventory